Hey folks, welcome to another episode of Arcane Assist. Based off a little bit of listener feedback, we're going to try something a bit different. This week's recording is going to be the beginning of a bit of a series on the Champions format and active duty roster casters. Trying a bit more of a limited meta and offering folks a bit of a window into the pairing process. So both Evan and I have prepared for Menoth and SKORNE respectively 2 lists, which we'll show in a moment, that are for Champions casters for the current Season 9 ADR roster. For myself, I have Kreoss2, and he is in the Exemplar Interdiction, and I've paired him with Sirenia in Faithful Masses. And one of the things I like about this pairing is it gives kind of a defense skew and kind of a faster list. It's very much the sort of hammer and anvil style of pairing. We've got a list against which they crash that can hit back really hard, and a list that they sort of is designed to hit them and sort of scalpel pieces out. It features a Judicator and the Severius package in the Kreoss list, so it's got a little bit of a, here's a reason that you have to come to me, that I'm going to eventually hit you back very hard. And then the Sirenia list is sort of standard Faithful Masses pieces. It's got Champions, it's got Idrians, it's got Hammer Dwarves. So it's got kind of that armor cracking plus that very strong defensive line with obvious synergies with powerful charge and fire.
So what I brought is a little bit different. It's Hexeris2 in the Imperial Warhost, and Zal in his basically home theme of the Exalted. Fairly typical Zal 2 list, lots of Immortals. We've got ourselves a Supreme Guardian, shiny new model. Still debating on whether or not I want to take 1 or 2 with him. I particularly like the single version because, I mean, the recursion's nice, but he doesn't need 2 direct spirits bubbles, and I like the overwhelming infantry models. The Immortal Vessel's a great ad for him. Hexeris is a little bit different, though. He's a really weird caster in that he doesn't have a damage buff, but he's got a lot of weird debuffs. He's got a defense debuff in Black Spot that allows him to get some extra attacks out of it, as well as Cloak of Ash, which is pretty good because it gives Ashen Veil, so it's really good against living models. He's got a real big toolbox, a lot of variety, so he can cover a lot of different matchups. He's not going to be exactly like oppressive in any of them, but he can deal with a lot of different situations.
Yeah, very much toolbox caster. Yeah, so I guess we'll talk a little bit about the decisions that went into our choice of lists. I opted to play Kreoss2, and I think that was the call from the onset. I very much wanted access to Cinerators, who've got RFP, relevant against the souls that Evan may or may not be able to collect. I also wanted the Chasten and Sacrosanct. Sacrosanct to knock down a bunch of Immortals if you brought them in, and Chasten to prevent channeling through the little telemetry guys in the Exalted list, and for Hexeris through all of his models.
Yes. Very big. Going into this matchup, I was looking across the table, and I thought that I was a little bit anxious about the guns Sirenia can bring to bear, as well as the damage multipliers with things like positive charge. So Zal 2's feat obviously helps a lot with that, but it's only for 1 turn. So every turn after that, assuming that Tim, and Tim's played against me playing Zal a ton of times, so he knows not to just kill my entire army in a turn or else he dies. So he's not going to give me that, obviously. And I'm a little bit worried about going into Kreoss with him, because Castigate basically eliminates any possibility of the Immortal Vessel coming into play, and Weapon Masters from Menoth do not care about armor as a stat, and Cinerators prevent me from collecting my own souls. So there's a lot of bad there for Zal. But Hexy, Black Spot really helps into the high defense of the Idrians combined with Sirenia's feet, and if I hit them, I'm likely just going to kill them with whatever, so I get more attacks out of Black Spot. Ashes to Ashes is really good there, so there's a lot going on there. And if I go into Kreoss, I can get some extra attacks out of Black Spot on the Cinerators, as much as not having a damage buff hurts there. Going in on the Cinerators with something like a turtle, and killing them and getting extra shots allows me to spread a lot of damage around, especially turtle guns into bastions are particularly good. So I felt a lot better about that matchup, so I dropped Hexy.
Yeah. So without further ado, I guess we'll jump right into it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little window into the pairing process, the logic that goes into it. If there's anything you dislike about that, or that you like different kinds of feedback, please let us know. We're trying something new, and we'd love to know what you think. So on the die roll, we rolled off here, and I think we both tied with a 1 multiple times, but then eventually I rolled a 2 and get to go first. So that extra couple of inches of deployment and opting to go first, I've got 9 inches. I positioned the Judicator to kind of... I feel like with the Judicator, the trick is always to look for corridors. And as you can see from this table, it's pretty densely wooded. So I picked Pathfinder as my objective, even before knowing what side I was on, because I feel like it's going to matter for getting through that central forest no matter what.
I mean, also that's when you pick objectives.
That's also true, yes. And the Judicator is positioned to capitalize on that sort of top circle, just sort of being there, being present, clearing it, maybe getting a unit over in there. And then I've got the Dervish, who I'm hoping can be an option to potentially score the center. Pardon me. I'm expecting the Errants to kind of play in the trees here, kind of using line of sight and kind of their native Pathfinder to protect themselves. I'm hoping that them serving as a bit of a screen can help deliver the Bastions, and then the Cinerators are going to kind of go up the middle of the board and be kind of the babysitters of Kreoss, protecting him and also making use of Inviolable Resolve plus their very, very powerful shield wall.
Yes. This table is a little bit awkward for me. I've got a decent number of guns, and those 2 obstructions really mess with my huge bases. So I figured this side's probably better for me, so I don't have an obstruction and 2 walls to deal with. I only have 1 wall and 1 obstruction to deal with, but it's still not great for me. I don't want to send my turtle way up top, because then it's kind of isolated, alone, without support, and against the Judicator, that's just bad for the turtle. So I'm going to try to move it through the central zone, past the building and over the objective. And then the bottom turtle's just going to run around all the trees and ignore them. And then my battle group's fairly heavily deployed in the center. Argonon's just going to go over the building and provide some contesting pieces, or provide itself as a contesting piece where it needs to be. The Kreoss will also do that because it's useless in this matchup.
Yeah, the blessed effect from the theme force on the Judicator and the Dervish are really powerful. Obviously, that makes the Judicator's guns a lot more exciting. I really like being able to go first with the Judicator on this scenario, because with the plus 2 inches of deployment and with the first turn run, the Judicator can be in that zone and in a position to potentially aim. So we have the Hierophant goes first, puts Harmonious Exaltation on Kreoss. Kreoss casts Sacrosanct for 2. He casts Castigate? Yeah, Castigate.
Castigate, not Sacrosanct, right?
Both, actually.
Do both? Oh,
yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's not an upkeep anymore, so I just cast both. And then he also casts Inviolable Resolve. So with Harmonious, that cost him 6. He's camping 1. And he charged the turtle, got right up behind that objective.
Cool.
Just trying to be in the middle of the board. I don't need Battle Charge in this matchup because I don't have any Jacks in my battle group who can countercharge.
I forgot he even had that spell.
It's really weird and really cool. I mean, having personal countercharge is always cool, I think. But, it's not great when your Judicator can't charge or move out of activation.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that could be a problem.
So Errants do the kind of screening thing behind the woods that I talked about. Bastions move up as aggressively as possible to take some table presence. Again, nothing really has Pathfinder, so I'm mostly looking at this as an opportunity to kind of position something to unpack again later next turn. And Choir unit activates. They end up putting Passage on both the Jacks, which is great. I think it's really helpful to not have to worry about just random turtle shots killing the Dervish right off this turn. Or putting like really good damage in that maybe takes out an arm on a Judicator or something insane. So they both ran up in or nearly in that zone. Both have that bonus on them.
Yep. So I was just measuring there. basically to see whether or not I can run the Arcadon and get Black Spot onto the Cinerators first thing. Anywhere I stand within 8 inches of the Cinerators, I'm within Castigate, so I cannot channel, so I cannot put out Black Spot. It sucks, but what you gonna do?
Yeah, this is the point where everyone's like, your Castigate is really controlling me effectively. And I was like, oh, really? It seems like it could be good. It's like, yeah, I can't cast Animi or channel spells. It's kind of what I do. And I was like, oh, that's really good then.
Yeah. So this bug is the Spray Bug. And the Spray Bug is really good against Bastions. I measure both directions, see if I can get any Cinerators, but the forest is just too thick. But we can just walk and spray 2 Bastions and an Errant with our big ol' spray 10. It's poison damage, so we're going to just put as much damage into those Bastions as we possibly can.
It's a lot.
Maybe Tim spreads it around. Maybe I kill 2 Bastions.
Sure, right.
We'll see what happens. And I mean, if I do that, then it causes some problems. And then the turtle can also trample up the one side, start shooting at some Errants, start shooting at some Bastions if it has the range. Do what it can. And the rest of my battle group's more or less just going to move up the middle. I'm going to put out some upkeeps. Cloak of Ash is going to go on the bug. Banishing Ward's going to go on a turtle. And then I can't get any offensive upkeeps out, so I'm also just going to rush the bug so that it can actually get in range of those 2 Bastions. That's why I was measuring the 5, and that's why the proxy base is where it is. So
the speed 3 on them is a little deceptive because they have AD and they have Pathfinder, so he's going to be relevant right off the hop.
Especially with Rush in the list.
Yeah, we used to talk about the Gladiator being kind of an auto-include piece, and while I don't think it's necessarily that, I do feel like that Rush Animus is huge.
Yeah, it's big. I really like it, especially with Karn in the list.
So, we got that spray. It's going to clip an Errant and 2 Bastions, and you're going to let me have it.
It is also poisoned, so it's going to do a lot of damage. I need 7s to hit the Errant and 6s to hit the Bastions. I hit everything. The first Errant toughs, thanks to Kreoss. The second Bastion, I don't actually do all that much damage to. The first Bastion I don't do a lot of damage to. And the second, so you spread out the damage. The second Bastion, I absolutely crush the damage roll on. So you just tough it, and you're fine. And
because he's in Gravus's sort of Brother's Keeper range, he is immune to stationary and knockdowns. That's a tough no knockdown Bastion.
So that bug's just kind of sitting in the middle of the table. It's got Cloak of Ash up, so he's there. Karn's gonna be a little bit careful and just stay back. Turtle's gonna move up. And I'm immediately like, yeah, let's put some shots into these Cinerators. And then I roll the amount of shots I get, and I decide not to shoot the Cinerators because this is how I got a turtle killed last time by triggering Vengeance. So I just decide not to shoot, and instead just repo back a little bit to be even more sure that I won't die.
Yeah, you go up and you do the math, and you're like, wait a minute, what's your armor? And I'm like, it's only 19. I haven't gone into Shield Wall yet. And you're like, nope. That's going to be a hard not shooting that dude.
Yep. I mean, if you didn't have Inviolable Resolve, I might consider it.
Right. But still no.
But you do, so no. Maybe killing a Cinerator. I guess I can wait to see how many shots I get and then decide.
Right.
Because if I get 4 shots, I might kill 2 Cinerators, and that's pretty worth it.
Yep.
But no, we don't do that at all, because it seems like a bad plan. So we just repo back. We move all our Beast Handlers up.
You just got those rage tokens out on all the turtles this turn?
Yep.
I think one of the turtles ends up on 2 damage after this is all said and done?
Yep, and then the other one just is fully healed. So he tramples up. He gets 4 shots, and he's just going to shoot some Errants, because there's no negative repercussions to doing that.
Yeah, and you end up taking those shots from outside of my command range for the tough. So a couple of these Errants just die. No problem.
Yeah, actually managed to hit a good number of shots here. Although one of them I failed to break armor with dub 1s. And then I repo back. Just be in a safe position with the turtle.
Slow and steady, right? I mean, turtles themselves are super fast, but their strategy is very reactive and very mannered. So what are you thinking here? What's the next plan?
It's mostly just deciding what I want to do with Hexy. I haven't thrown out any of those spells. The Archidon can't do anything particularly useful this turn, so he's just going to stand back where he is. Agonizer, or rather the Kreoss, is going to also hide behind that building, make sure he just doesn't get shot off the table immediately. And then Hexy will walk up, rush the... Nope, not this turn. The Gladiator rushed the bug earlier, not Hexeris himself. So Hexeris is going to walk up, put up Cloak of Ash, Banishing Ward, and then I think just ditch 2 Fury because I've put too much out. Yeah.
The burdens of having a big battle group.
He goes down to basically nothing, and then the Agonizer also walks up and puts up Gnawing Pain, just in case I've messed up somewhere with threat ranges. Although I know the bug, who ended up killing nothing, is in range of a lot of stuff, so that might be a problem for him.
The bug who ended up killing nothing.
Yes.
It's like the man who knew too little, but for war beasts.
Sure.
Did you ever see that? Man who knew too little? Bill Murray? I thought it's classic.
Yeah.
It's great.
Okay.
You're too young.
I think it's your turn.
Yeah, it is, yes. So, I got a couple decisions to make. You didn't trigger Vengeance, and I got to spread its advantage of the Bastions, so they're going to end up healing. I really like to kill this bug. This bug seems like a good thing to kill. And to that end, I think I'd like to remove Cloak of Ash, so I make the math a little bit more in my favor. So that's me
How are you going to remove
talking
Cloak
through
of
the
Ash,
allocation.
Tim?
So my hope with Cloak of Ash is that I can put down a Castigate? No, Chasten. I don't want to keep mixing up those 2 spells. I can put down a Chasten and boost damage and get a couple points in there and remove Cloak of Ash. Then it's much easier.
Yeah. What else are you planning on doing this turn?
Well, it'd be nice to kill some things. Now, I mean, I know everyone puts that on their Christmas list. It's kind of just a given. But this Judicator I am now measuring is in walk and spray range of 50% of its damage output. Now, I know Judicator rockets are what we all came to the show for, but the opening active sprays are also pretty damn good.
So, I maybe went too far with this turtle anyway.
Yeah.
After being so worried about the Cinerators, I forgot that there was a giant robot on the top half of this table.
Yep.
So the first spray only does 4 boxes. And this is the full health turtle. He healed all of his boxes after being whipped. But you absolutely crushed the damage rolls here, and just this turtle gets blown to chunks after the rockets hit it.
Yeah, the rockets
just annihilated.
And I didn't even clip it with any of the secondary blasts. It was all just the direct hits from the rockets and the direct hits from the sprays.
It's dead. It's very dead. That's not even rolling above average.
No, I mean I had to choose to boost to hit the rocket instead of boost damage to land the last one. And I was kind of doing probability math, is it better to maybe miss but be able to boost damage, or whatever. I think I'm pretty happy with the methodology we came apart here.
You also Lucky Scatter, just kill a Beast Handler.
Yeah, sure. The thing about the Judicator is it does a lot of work as advertised. And then sometimes it just does other random stuff. Sometimes you just kill Marketh for no reason.
See, you started that sentence with the thing about the Judicator, though, is as if you were about to say something bad about the Judicator.
No, I'm
and you didn't.
I'm saying more good things about the Judicator.
It's just a bit of a bait and switch that I'm not okay with.
Kind of like the Judicator blowing up your turtle.
Yep. Here's some Cinerators, and also flamethrowers and rockets.
Yay! It's an adventure for everyone.
Adventure is not the word I would use.
Come on, grab your friends.
So, Chasen worked.
Yep. So I chastened, boosted the damage, got a couple points in, you hyper-aggressive forward, and I'm now going to charge you with a bunch of Weapon Masters.
Weapon Master number 1. I hyper-aggressive towards you more. I mean, at this point I'm thinking the odds that I survive this are very, very, very low. Correct. I might as well just be closer to you if I happen to live. But regardless, like, there's a billion Cinerators.
So the Cinerators who are charging him, like as you can see, they get the defensive order mini feat, but they also get the +1 to hit and damage from Severius. So they're all in the bubble necessary to put like a ton of damage into that guy.
And also this.
Now for something completely different.
It's the same. It's just Cinerators. They also get to shield wall.
I mean, sure. That's a good point.
And also weapon masters.
Yep. Yeah. My dice here are pretty acceptable. I'm happy with the result.
The result is Dead Bug, also repo to be armed 23 in both zones. Sorry, all 3 zones.
Yeah. I make a bit of a weird play here. I don't get the same triangular formation with this unit because of the guy in the rough terrain, but I've got Cinerators on either side of a forest that I can hide behind with line of sight. So it's a pretty effective package, I think.
Yeah. Severius comes over,
just
so you can get some more Eye of Menoth across the table.
Let's eye it up. Yeah, that 10-inch bubble is really, really big. Like, you have to sometimes be a little bit aggressive with him, and that's what I did here is I moved him up behind the Cinerator so I could get a couple of errant shots. But those errant shots, I mean, they didn't kill anyone here. They could have killed someone in another spot. Shots on the Agonizer was my main goal there. And I spiked the first one. It's great.
Yes.
And then the second 2 just miss. They don't roll the 5s they need to hit.
Mm-hmm. I mean, overall, fairly average damage, actually.
Yeah, no, like 9 points to him is pretty good for, again, because they're Rat 7 and Power Strength 11.
Mm-hmm.
So they end up kind of punching above their weight.
Yeah. Dervish runs over to be back near Sevi, and then you ship it over to me. First thing I see is the turtle can go in, hit some Bastions, hit some Errants. Maybe if I put Black Spot on the Errants, I can get some gunshots in on them and cause more Black Spot shots. But the forest kind of messes with line of sight to some of them, so I decided not to do that. But I'm charging in heavies at Cinerators anyways, so I figure I might as well throw out Black Spot on them. So this Kreoss is going to walk forward, boost to hit a paralyzed shot on a Cinerator. Hit.
Really, really good shot.
And then it's also outside of 14 of Kreoss and his Castigate, so I can use him as an arc node to arc Black Spot onto that very same Cinerator.
Yeah, really, really powerful. Dropping my defense down to 7. More importantly, means that model can't charge, and he's kind of bunging up the unit a little bit where he's positioned.
Marketh goes up, uses Harmonious Exaltation onto Hexi. 3 Beast Handlers that were tending to a turtle go up, give Enrage to Moloch Karn and the Gladiator, as well as take a Fury off of the Kreoss. And here's where I'm kind of deciding how I want to go about this turn. I haven't activated Hexi yet. I'm thinking I want to try to kill Severius this turn. So I'm going to walk up and feat. My feat allows me to take focus and fury points and souls off of non-warcaster, non-warlock models. That includes Severius.
Yeah, I didn't think super hard about this, but when you come up for the feat, you catch Gravus and Severius. So you pull all the souls off Gravus and you pull all the focus off Severius, which makes me immediately anxious that you're gonna just kill Severius.
And I mean, that's the plan. So yeah, we do that. We before we do that, we actually cast some spells. We try to, I think, throw out the Black Spot for 2, and then we throw out, I think it's a
like a Hellfire.
Yeah, it's a Zot of some kind, or no, yeah. I throw out a Hellfire at the Cinerators up top. Sorry. I think what I should have done probably instead was rush the Gladiator and then rush Moloch Karn. Then I don't have to worry about rushing either of those things with themselves. But I don't. I walk up with Hexi and I feat and I take away all the fury. And then I throw another Hellfire out. I get a little bit overzealous with Hexy because I see this great angle where if I kill one Cinerator with a Hellfire, I can just charge in, put Molokarn where that Cinerator was, and kill, I think, 2 Cinerators, the Bastion, Seneschal, and Sevi-0. And I just get super greedy and go for that twice, hoping that over the course of 2 dice -9s, I do 5 damage to that Cinerator. It doesn't work out for me.
Doesn't stick. I think you did like 2 damage.
Yeah, I did 2 damage. What I should have done was probably just rush the Gladiator, rush Molokarn, then the Gladiator can charge in, kill 2 Cinerators, and clear the way for Molokarn. But I opt for it's Hexy's fruit turn. He has to get work done instead of just cast every support spell he possibly can. Because it probably also would have been good to throw up Cloak of Ash on Molokarn. The Archidon walks with Rush. I did cast Rush on the Archidon through itself.
Yep.
Over the building, attacks the paralyzed Cinerator twice. I think does 2 or 3 points of damage. Doesn't manage to kill anything. This Gladiator has to rush himself, and he charges into the Errants.
Yeah, I probably gave you too many Errants here.
And I kill all 3 of them. I use each kill with Vampiric Vampiric Harvest to heal up the Agonizer again, because his spirit was crippled and his body was crippled.
Yeah, Vampiric Harvest is a really cute rule. I've not seen it employed a ton, but it's fixed your aspects and it's allowed you to sort of be a little bit more flexible in your activations.
The Agonizer then runs behind the forest and the Gladiator, putting up gnawing pain. The Beast Handlers then go up and remove both Fury from the Agonizer and 1 from the Gladiator. And then we have Molokarn. Molokarn and the bottom turtle.
He just protected himself. What's this turn about?
This turn is about getting work done. I noticed that if Molokarn charges where I want him to, he's going to eat 2 Bastion free strikes, which is 1 more than I'd like.
That's POW 14 and
POW 12 because of the Agonizer.
12 because of the Agonizer, you're absolutely right. But still Weapon Master.
Yes.
So dice down 6, they do like maybe 4.5, 5 damage. If they hit the same column, they take out an aspect.
Real bad. I'm okay with 1, not 2. Turtle goes in, eats 2 defensive strikes. They do a good chunk of damage to this turtle. And then it'll charge in using the spear on the Errant UA, because that's the model it can see.
Yep.
And I want to save the tail for the Bastions just to do more damage to them.
I think this cute line of play where you charge with the independent attack is one of my favorite things the turtle can do.
It's so good.
It's normally amazing, but I think here you actually just don't kill the...
Miss it by 1.
Yeah.
Then I do a bunch of damage to a Bastion who fails his tough check. Then I stab the Errant with the spear again, and I believe I failed to kill with the spear. And then I dial up the gun, only get 2 shots. Both of them I target at Severius, who doesn't have any focus, because I don't think I'm going to be able to clear a route for Molokarn to get there.
Yep.
Both shots miss.
I mean, you're looking for what, 10s?
I'm looking for 10s.
Could happen.
I wish I'd gotten more than 2 shots, because it would have made a good difference, but we take out some Bastions with tail attacks. Unfortunately, you tough twice, so it basically means 2 of my attacks go to waste. But
yeah, those lucky tough checks. Kreoss' like cool bubble of tough is really powerful, especially when you combine it with Gravus' bubble of no knockdown.
I repo a little bit deeper, avoiding taking another defensive strike. And then I debate what I want to do with Molokarn here, because I can go on a weird angle and try to get to Sevi, but then I think if I decide to go for Sevi instead of these Cinerators, I immediately lose on attrition. But just because there's so many models there that are just going to do work to me next turn, and if they take out both the Gladiator and the Molokarn, which they probably can if there's still 5 medium-based infantry there, then I think I'm doomed to lose just on models at that point. So I think Molokarn has to go in here and clear out as many Cinerators as possible.
And you have to take 1 defensive strike, but not both.
Yes.
Which is, I think, the right compromise.
Yeah, I stay out of range of just the one Bastion, but in 2 inches of everyone else.
Hits with an 8, goes down to power 12, dice minus 6. Does a chunk, but not so much that you're in real trouble.
Yep, and it's not double ones to hit, because Cinerators are def 9 with black spot on them. But it is dice minus, I want to say 7? No, it's dice minus 6. Nope, 7, because it's 16 versus 23.
Yep.
And this middle Cinerator that's holding up the shield wall toughs 3 times in a row, I want to say.
I think Evan is staring death into my eyes at this point in the game. He's just looking across the table, and he's like, tough? Aggressively flips it to my clock. I'm like, yep, tough. He's like, again? Yep.
I just say, again, again,
Yep.
again. Because you keep toughing with medium bases. Eventually I kill and get to make a black spot attack and kill that guy. And at this point, I'm just like, great. I get to kill 2 guys per Fury I buy, which is the 4 I intended to. But man, did it take way more work than I wanted it to. And at that point, I ship the clock over to Tim. And it's your turn 3.
Yeah. So, this is top of 3. We haven't scored at the bottom yet, but I've got a couple of scoring opportunities that are present for me. This is almost certainly a Kreoss feat turn, because I think I need to make up for the kind of aggressive attrition work that Evan's done to me. Because I'm playing kind of a slower Kreoss list, as I mentioned before, the sort of hammer anvil approach. This is very much an anvil list where sort of things come into me and then I hit back. It's really dependent on having enough left in the tank to finish doing the work. So I Vengeance with this unit of Cinerators. Reminder that the front Cinerator is paralyzed, which means they're not going to do anything great charge-wise this turn, so I'm going to have to be a little bit conservative with what I expect them to do. They do a bunch of damage to the Arcadon. They're all in Severius's bubble, so they're mat 8, power strength 12 with fire on their melee attacks. Top zone, I can easily feat and have the Judicator walk up, punch and kill that Arcadon. But I bet I could also probably kill the Arcadon, maybe the objective, maybe get some blast damage in some other spots, and get a little bit more work out of the Judicator than that. And I look at the board and I say, like, if I battle, the Choir can walk over, but not every one of them will be in the zone, which means I won't score the top. Or I could just rely on the Judicator getting Severius's bonus and its Signs of Importance effect. It doesn't need to do a ton of work this turn, and then I could run the Choir into the zone and they could score it. So I decide that's the game plan. So with those things in mind, I've got to allocate the right number of attacks to things to kill them. I've given Pathfinder to Gravus this turn, and he's hoping to do a bunch of work to Mullet Karn. Maybe kill Mullet Karn, which would free up the Bastions to kill, like, the Turtle. And I think for a couple of different ways about if there's somewhere that I want Kreoss to charge. I feel like the biggest mistake you make in playing a Kreoss2 turn, especially his feat turn, is being a little bit too aggressive. So I play him conservative. I walk him up. I keep him behind the forest. I cast Castigate. Castigate's the no...
The no channel.
Yeah, the no channeling one. And I camp 3. That's my, like... I've allocated to the Judicator, but I'm trying to be safe. Trying to play conservative. I could have cycled Inviolable Resolve to him, but I like it on the shield bowling unit right now. So I get an impact attack with Gravus. It's POW 13 because it gets +1 damage from I, and it's not affected by the negative strength of the Agonizer aura.
You do 1 damage.
I do. 1 damage. Dice minus 5. It's 1 damage. And then his charge attack hits Mullet Karn and does dice minus 8. Still a fair bit of damage. That Agonizer being agonizing. And a dice minus 8 and boosted damage. And then the last attack... Evan reminds me I've actually got the feat attack, so I actually am able to use that last soul to boost instead. So it's the boosted damage charge attack, the use a soul to boost damage on the free feat attack, and then buy with a soul, boost damage with a soul. So he gets 3 fully boosted Weapon Master attacks in at Mullet Karn, and that leaves Mullet Karn on, what, like 1 box at this point?
Yep, exactly 1 box.
Seems all right.
it's enough.
So I'm checking to see if the Seneschal can charge the Gladiator or if I need to repo Gravus. I don't, so the Seneschal charges the Gladiator using its own Tactician Bubble to cross Gravus, who is an Exemplar model. I hit, and I did a ton of damage. And that's still a living Gladiator. I use the Seneschal's second attack, the free attack from the feet to auto-hit Malak-Karn, but I don't do
At
enough
dice
to kill him.
minus 6, you roll 6 and do no damage.
Yeah, that's okay. I got other attacks. I mean, eventually they're going to peter out. I do definitely need Malak-Karn to be dead, or he will kill me.
Yeah, where he's standing right now is bad for you.
Yes, so he's got to die. That's going to be part of the plan here. So, we are activating the Judicator now. As I mentioned before, it's doing its sprays. So it sprays and clips the Agonizer and the Kreoss. Does a bunch of damage to the Agonizer, and finishes it off. Or pardon me, not the Agonizer, the Arcadon. The Arcadon and the
Yes.
Kreoss. Kills the Arcadon, and it's got another spray attack. Its second spray attack, I end up lining up over a Cinerator, which clips the objective, and one of the Beast Handlers. So that spray only does 2 points of damage to the objective. The Kreoss is on fire. Rocket shot. I shoot it, and I hit the objective, and boost damage, and blow up the objective. I just do 14 damage.
14 points.
Yep.
Just crush it.
So Judicator, doing what it's supposed to do, gets a secondary blast, which clips Marketh. I boost damage on Marketh. This is dice minus 6. And I do some points to him. He's fine, but he takes a couple points of damage. Just force him to be a little more scared.
8, right? Because of Ghost Shield?
Pardon me?
He goes from 13 to 16? Or how
Right,
8?
sorry, I did not battle. I specifically did not battle, as we talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing the battle math in my head, and that's not right. So now the choir activates, they run, and they're all in the zone.
Yup.
Seems aight.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, my ambition here is to just remove all of the things that can contest that top zone, score points, and just have a really, really aggressive Kreoss turn. So this is Severius charges, auto hits because of the feat, kills Malak-Karn, and then he casts an Immolate at the Agonizer behind the Gladiator, hits it, and it got softened up with the Errants before. He boosts damage and kills the Agonizer. So that's huge because that's 8 extra damage that these two Bastions get to do.
Yeah, it's a lot. And I mean, they're not even going to need 8 extra damage.
So the two Bastions charge. First one's damage roll
is really good. And the second one's damage roll
Mhm.
is really good. And then the third free attack, it kills it.
Yep.
Didn't even need the fourth attack.
So now the Errants are in a position to charge the Gladiator. It's just the Errant officer. He hits, does a bunch of damage, and at dice minus 9, he puts, I think, 4 points of damage into him. Dervish just runs up and kind of tries to create a bit of a line to Severius so that he's a little bit harder to see. Line of sight's, or pardon me, to Kreoss, line of sight's a bit more blocked there. And then the Cinerators, who are finally actually activating, they're just advancing 4 inches and shield balling. They are going to make an attack against the Kreoss. I think they kill it here. Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
Just a dead Kreoss. So that turn, I score 3 points, ship the clock to Evan. Evan, how we feeling?
Not good. This is really gone real bad for me at this point. I am losing on a
pear-shaped. No? You don't use that one? This has gone pear-shaped?
No.
Really?
No,
that's a real expression.
That's uncomfortable.
What? It's not. It's a thing.
What? We're not getting into this now.
All right.
But it's bad. It's a bad time.
Yes, it is as bad as it could be.
So I have to figure out how to do this? Question mark. I mean, you have.
You don't need War Beast if you just kill my caster.
Yeah, that's the thought. I have about half an hour to think about this.
Yeah, I'm down dripping below the 10-minute line, and I think you've got 28 or 30.
Yeah, it's up there. But I don't have a lot of tools left. I don't have repulsion from the Agonizer, so I can't push stuff out of the way. Marketh has 2 souls, so he can fully boost to Hellfire. That's going to be handy.
Yep.
Hexy is a little awkward behind that wall because he can't charge anything, but he can walk and be in melee range. I do some measuring. He's out of melee range if he wants to walk and attack Gravus or the Bastion Seneschal, but I can walk and attack Severius 0. So that's not bad. I mean, I'm at 7. I need 8s to hit because you're def 15. And then I'm dice -1, so with a focus involved, a boosted damage roll should kill you.
All right. Should so is the watchword here.
We walk up, we boost to hit, we boost damage, 1/1/2. So with a focus reduction, you take 0 damage. I'm like, well, okay. Buy an attack.
Do it again.
Miss. Buy an attack. Hit. Boost damage. No damage again from the focus. It cost me my entire stack in melee attacks to kill Sevi 0.
But you get to vampirically heal the gladiator.
For 1. Yep.
Yep.
Not bad.
7 focus and a warlock precariously placed in assassination range up the front of the board.
That's great.
Seems good.
Marketh goes, fully boosts to Hellfire on the Bastion Seneschal. Does kill. We forget that it prevents tough, so you do make a tough roll there.
Yeah. We'll catch that in a second, though, because the next thing Evan moves to, which I think is quite clever, is he just moves to Beast Handlers, who charge in making melee attacks because they have anatomical precision, and unfortunately, Bastions and really Errants in general don't have great defensive stats. Yeah. So here's one guy from that unit who is
just being sacrificial defensive strike. Oh, I put him down, and then we're like, wait, how did this guy get here? It was the defensive strike, but he's not relevant in the game. He's just over there. The one leftover member of the other unit goes and kills him after the defensive strike's been gone. He can't tough because of anatomical, so he only needed to hit. He does so and kills it. And here's the last thing I've got to do. So I heal the gladiator 2 more points from the Errant and the Bastion.
Mm-hmm.
I have to charge the Dervish on a weird angle, and then use the 6 bot attacks / buys in order to kill Kreoss. And that's my out. And otherwise, I just lose this game on scenario.
And you're gonna charge with like the crappy weapon.
Yeah,
and
the -1 POW. However, the free strike I have to take from Gravus gets the exact column it needs to. It hits the 1 and does 4 points of damage, which cripples my mind. Which means that this is a lot worse now. So I miss the Dervish even though I roll a 6 to hit it. Mm-hmm. I boost against Kreoss with my second initial, miss. Boost against Kreoss with my second or third initial, miss. Buy boost to hit, and then I'm out of attacks. I don't kill Kreoss. I have no more activations. I end the turn, and Tim scores 1. And then he flips it back to me and scores 2.
Immediately scores the last point in the zone.
And then scored a 5-0, and that's the game.
Yeah, so this is the first in our kind of ADR series, trying to show off the champions roster, show off a kind of, I guess, a little bit more of a limited meta perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely invite people to look at some lists or maybe post what kind of pairs you're excited about in the champions format.
Yeah.
Or what, and this is I think a really good question people should ask when they're looking at champions as a roster, is what are the kind of boogeymen of that format?
It's true.
What's the pairing you're most afraid of? Not what are you excited about playing, but what do you think can really do well in that?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks very much. And if you're watching this on our Patreon service, is a suggestion of one of our Patreon subscribers that brought us to this idea. We're always interested in feedback. If you want to give us more, please let us know. You know, send us a message, talk to us. We really do appreciate your support. It literally lets us do this.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next Monday.